What's going on, everyone? So yesterday during media day, Rui Hachimura had quite a fun, entertaining, just enjoyable press conference, right? LeBron James kind of crashed it from afar, and they had some little jokes kind of showing the Rui Hachimura LeBron James chemistry. Rui Hachimura was asked about, hey, what made you re-sign with the Lakers? Oh, how did that whole process go? And he said, I only had one option, and that option was the Lakers. That he wanted to be here, that this was the place that he wanted to come to. Like when he got the trade, he was pumped and excited. He didn't have plans on going anywhere else, that this was it. And, of course, part of that, I'm sure, is just the generic answer, right? You hear every team wants to retire the team that they're on or whatever. But I genuinely do believe Rui Hachimura when he talks about the Lakers and talks about how he wanted to stay here. And because, one, he loves it here. It is a place that he's always wanted to go to. The market is perfect for him, right? His brand is bigger than it's ever been. The dude is a celebrity and superstar now, being on the Lakers. He's an excellent player. He's improving faster than he ever was improving on the Washington Wizards. I mean, even in the short stint in which he was with the Lakers, we saw drastic improvements on the defensive side. He was better defensively for us than he ever was. Also, he clarified some stuff, which I thought was interesting. So one of the things that he clarified was that him losing weight and slimming down. He said that he's, more defined now. So he said that could be a part of it. And he also said that a lot of the narrative for that came from the pictures with him and LeBron James, because he was working out with LeBron James all offseason. And so that, to me, I think is good. Right? I talked about him slimming down and the pros and cons of it, right? One of the advantages and one of the things that makes Rui Hachimura so great is his size and his strength and him being a little bit burly, right? And him keeping his weight and maintaining his size, but getting more physically defined, I think is massive for him, because that's what makes him so effective. His ability to guard the bigger players in the league, the ability to use that size and strength to create space, to bump guys off, to create a shot, to get his own shot, to get his own looks, right? The concern and issue is him defending out on the perimeter, right? And him being potentially in the starting lineup, which he addressed. He talked about that. And he said, I don't really care about being in the starting lineup. If that's what happens, that's what happens. He said he's more interested in the closing lineup. He wants to be a part of the closing lineup, which I absolutely love that. Because I've said that how many times on this channel? How many times have we had these conversations about starting is cool bragging rights. I start for the Lakers, but who are the best five on any given night that are going to close? That's the unit that is going to be out there. Those are probably your best five players. So Rui wanting to strive for that and being one of the five guys that close the game at the end of the games and being one of the five guys that help win the game, I like that answer. I really appreciate that. He even talked about how, game to game, matchup to matchup, because they talked about, him in the playoffs and can it translate and stuff like that, and, him in the starting unit. And he said, even look at the playoffs, right? We made adjustments and different guys in the starting units or different guys would get heavier minutes or whatever according to the matchup. And he talked about how that's probably going to be the case this upcoming season, which I agree with. I think that's probably how it's going to go. Darvin Ham will probably play and match up starting units and closing units based on the team that they're facing, which is one of the beauties of this roster, is that versatility to basically match any type of unit, any type of lineup in the entire league. And so I love seeing just Rui's responses and Rui's answers and Rui's clarification on some of the stuff that was kind of just put out there into the ether, right? And I'm really looking forward to just what he's able to produce out on the basketball court. But the other thing is, too, is that, he talked about how hard he's worked, working on just both sides of the basketball, working on his three-point shot, working on just being a more efficient offensive player, which he already is incredible in that. He's been working with Phil Handy all offseason, right? He was in Japan with Phil Handy and Jared Vanderbilt working on his game, redefining his game, working on all the things that'll make him great. And I really hope that the Lakers give him a real opportunity. This is a guy that is a certified bucket. This is a guy that could just go get you 20 to 30 on any given night if given the opportunity in the role. And I'm not saying that you have to run your entire offense through Rui Hachimura, but I do hope that they actually run some sets and some plays for him. It was something I was screaming. Like, if you were part of this channel last season, we do the live streams during the games, and then we do the post-game stream. And it was, I don't know how many times I was screaming at the top of my lungs to go get Rui the ball. Right? Like, Rui's established position on the low block. He's got the mismatch. Give him the basketball, or our offense will be stagnant and nobody's getting buckets. It's like, you have Rui on the court. Just give him the ball and let him go create something. The guy is a bucket. He's unstoppable, and he's killing it in the playoffs. And I do, in the defense of the Lakers, right? Because part of that is the unit that's on the court. Like, LeBron, Reeves, D'Lo, like those guys getting Rui the ball and understanding and recognizing those mismatches. But it's also on Darvin Ham, putting Rui in that set and calling your team out, saying like, hey, go get him the ball, right? When he's established on the block, feed him the ball. Let him make a play out of the post. Trust your teammate, right? But in the defense of everyone, Rui came in, he was rough in the beginning, and like he thought, hey, like it was new, it was a new environment, new system, new everything. I had to get in rhythm. I had to figure things out. That's why I struggled, right? Because that was one of the highlights that they talked about, was him struggling early on and then kind of picking it up in the playoffs. He said I finally found my stride. And he's credited Phil Handy. Phil Handy kept saying, just keep working on your game, keep doing what you're doing, and eventually the shot will fall. And that's what happened. And I really hope that translates into the regular season. Because he's had a ton of success in the playoffs. Well, not a ton, but he's had great success in the playoffs with the Washington Wizards and with the Lakers now. But it's never really been able to fully translate into the regular season. My hope is that it translates into the regular season this year. And he's put in the time, he's put in the work, he's put in the effort, which I love to see. Right? And I hope that, again, the Lakers allow him to thrive. Because it's about opportunity. If he's just going to be a spot-up three-point shooter in the corner, then what's the point of playing him at all? That's not his strengths. That's not where it's not where you can best utilize him and he becomes the best player that he is. Right? Like, you might as well just go with Jared Vanderbilt. Right? But if you're actually going to run sets, I'm not saying he can't ever be in the corner as a spot-up three-point shooter, but if that's all he's going to be, then no. Like, you got to integrate him into the offense, which is why I like the idea of him coming off the bench, because if he comes off the bench, then he can kind of be the main scoring option in that role as like the sixth man or whatever off the bench. That's what I want to see from Rui Hachimura, personally. But the other thing is, too, is he talked about how much he's worked with LeBron James all offseason. Even LeBron confirmed it. He called him, he said he's the Mr. Miyagi. He calls him Daniel-son. And, that whole thing is beautiful, right? Like that, because Rui Hachimura is very likely going to be the LeBron James stand-in, right? When LeBron sails off into the sunset or goes and plays with the sun, whatever ends up happening, Rui is very likely going to be the guy that steps into that LeBron role. And you're never going to replace LeBron, but Rui has the offensive capability to go give you the offensive production. He has the size and the strength and has shown the ability on the defensive side to give you some production, right? And if he can better define his overall game playing alongside LeBron James, that'd be beautiful. Especially with Rui Hachimura, who he is the same size and build and all that stuff as LeBron James. So that would be perfect, right? If he could better just grasp and understand and get the flow of the overall basketball game and become a better all-around basketball player. So he also credited Phil Handy was the one that really pushed for that. Like, hey, you need to get with LeBron. You need to shadow LeBron all offseason. And he did. And I love that. I love seeing the work ethic of Rui Hachimura and what we're seeing him really, truly try to strive for greatness. Because, what was it, 3 years ago, something like that? Rui Hachimura, there was questions about his work ethic, right? That the Wizards had some concerns with the time that he was putting into the gym and stuff like that. Well, he's not having that problem with the Lakers, so that's beautiful. I love seeing that, right? Because this is a guy that has the potential to have a big role this season, but not only for this season, but for the foreseeable future, again, he's probably going to be a huge piece. Unless something crazy happens where, like, Giannis becomes available and the Lakers go and make a push for him, Rui Hachimura is probably going to be a Laker his entire new contract at least, which is the next 4 years, hopefully longer. Hopefully he is that good to where we have to keep him long term. The way it looks right now, our future post LeBron is going to be, Austin Reeves, Max Christie, Jared Vanderbilt, Rui Hachimura, and Anthony Davis. And then you have, Shafino, Maxwell Lewis. Hopefully we can keep like a Jackson Hayes and maybe a Cam Reddish and guys like that. But Rui is going to be a huge offensive weapon for us for a long time. And he has the tools, he has the opportunity at his disposal. Right? I mean, people compare him to Kawhi Leonard because of the type of mid-range and the style of play, that kind of slower, methodical, get to your spot, elevate. I wish he had the defense of Kawhi Leonard. Then, I mean, stop. But no, in all reality, look, I love Rui. I hope that he dominates, and I'm really looking forward to it. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? What do you think of Rui Hachimura? What did you think of his answers? Did you check out the media day and actually get to see him in his interviews and stuff? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are. Love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments.